Hi, everyone. Welcome into another edition of Off Air. Casey and Kristen with you here. Thanks again to Food City for sponsoring Off Air, our weekly podcast, as much as we can fit it into our schedules. And we've been on a pretty good streak of late.
We really have.
I think since the Megan Boswell trial, we've been weekly.
Yeah, we've done a good job, I think. And it's always fun.
This week, we're going to recap race week in Bristol. The first of two trips by NASCAR to town has come and gone. And if you watched last week, you know Kristen and I had a little wager for the podcast snack. The loser would have to bring it. We just picked one driver each. Gave Kristen the first pick. She took Kyle Larson. I took Joey Logano. Now listen to this. On Sunday, before the race even started, the Food City 500, Kristen goes, well, I already won the bet because Kyle Larson won the Xfinity race on Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. I'm like,
we didn't say which
Cup
one.
race. Joey Logano wasn't even racing, I don't think, in the Xfinity race. So I'm like, no. This is. Then he goes on and leads 411 of the 500 laps.
And wins. And I walked away the winner.
I knew I was due because we picked this on whatever day it was, Tuesday or Wednesday of last week. And when I was looking at the starting lineup, and saw that Kyle Larson was starting, I think he was either like second, third. He was near the top. And I'm looking through Joey Logano. I don't see his name. I'm like, did I miss? Like, is he not racing this week? And I looked through it again. And no, he was 38th. He started 38th, second to last. He did make his way up a little bit, but he was a non-factor in the race. So and Kyle Larson, again, led like 90% of the race.
The funny thing that really made me laugh is you were like, at one point when I was like, I'm the winner, I'm going to win. You were like, well, you picked the person. You just looked at the.
She picked the favorite.
You picked the favorite.
Yeah.
How do you honestly think that I did that? Like I actually looked at like NASCAR standings.
No,
before
but I
made
said,
my
way
pick.
to pick the he's like one of the best driver in the sport.
I didn't even know that until you said that.
You didn't know he was the best driver in the sport?
No, I just picked him because he's my favorite driver because we went off who's our favorite. And so
Joey Logano. I know that was not the topic because Joey Logano is not my favorite driver. I can promise you that.
I just went with that. I just, went with it. Like if we were picking like favorite, if you were to have asked me that last week.
Who's your favorite driver?
Or like, no, yes. But if you would have asked me who I thought would be like the favorite to win or like the fan favorite, I would have said Chase Elliott.
Well, Chase Elliott's the fan favorite, but he was not the favorite to win the race.
Well, I didn't know.
Kyle Larson.
But I was saying, like, if there was like a fan favorite out there, I would have picked that.
Okay.
So I had no idea. I just picked, and I still came out the winner.
Which means that later on in the show, I am responsible for the snack. I got my lunch, my lunchbox right here.
I'm so excited.
That I bring to work daily, and inside. This is a shout out to Speedway Children's Charities. I had this many years ago to golf tournament. Also, as a quick side note, they just got a check from Jersey Mike's.
They did.
For $122,000.
Incredible.
For the month of giving that Jersey Mike's does. So Speedway Children's Charities will give that money away later this year in November, their annual Night of Smiles.
Yep.
That'll be a big part. I think last year they told me that about 10% of the money they were able to give away came from Jersey Mike's. So it is a big, big deal. And this was a record most money Jersey Mike's has ever given. So that's one little interesting side note. That happened at Bristol Motor Speedway as well earlier this week.
And when I was working for the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office, for those of you who didn't know that, I used to work there for a little bit as the public information officer. We had the annual Toys from Cops event. Okay. And we would give away, it was my favorite thing that we did at the sheriff's office, but we gave away toys to kids in need. And basically what they would do is they would go to the school systems, and like the school systems would come with a list of kids that like, needed Christmas this year or whatnot. And then they got to come and shop. And they came away with bikes and like all kinds of toys. So it was so much fun. And they got to like walk around, like you got to take a kid and like walk around and shop with them. And it was super fun. But a big funder of that program is Speedway Children's Charities. They usually write them a check every year. So
awesome
great
stuff.
If you went out and got a sandwich.
In the month of March.
Month of March, and you should do it next year too.
Yes. Back to the race. What was your favorite part of the day? We were up, our station has a suite. This is the first time in, I think, 4 or 5 years that they actually had a suite for the spring race, because the last several years it had been on Easter or St. Patrick's Day. Hadn't done it in the spring. So this was the first time in several years that the station had a suite. So we were both up there on Sunday, and it was in a non-working capacity. Really, a couple years ago, we worked Easter up there. We were hosting our post-race show, but this one, there was no post-race show. So we were just there having a good time. And what was your best part about Sunday out there?
Oh gosh. Well, I just always enjoy spending time with you guys, but no, it's just always a lot of fun to just hang out and talk to people and just run around.
We got to visit with the sponsor of this podcast and the sponsor of the race, Food City. We went down to their suite for a little bit.
Did.
Got to talk to Lisa.
That's probably
Johnson,
always my favorite part. Just,
Kevin Stafford.
Steve
Smith.
Steve. Yeah, I love to pop in and
Dan
say hi.
Yeah.
Yep. And his wife is great. Got to meet her. She's awesome. So yeah, it's just fun. I get to meet new people, pop in, talk to people. There's always delicious food. Oh, and then this year you didn't go. You stayed with Kelly up in the suite, but me and Dave went down to the Smoky Mountain moonshine rooftop down in the pits.
Okay.
Got to feel the rattle of the engines.
You were up on top of the looking at right up above the press box. On top of the press box is where that is.
Wait.
Right?
No. We went down to the pits.
Oh, to the pits.
And there's a rooftop.
Yeah. In Media
you're
Center.
Talking about on top of the Media Center.
Yeah, Media Center.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was the press box.
On top of the Media Center, and you stand up there, and they do have a little bar there, but
it's loud down there. I mean,
it's very loud. Yeah, we did get earplugs before we went down there.
Yeah, you have to if you're down.
And you can't talk. It was actually funny. My friend Ashley was down there too, and at one point she was trying to tell me something, and I thought she said I met Conan O'Brien, and I was like, the comedian, and she was like, huh? And then we found out later she was trying to say that she saw Tony, our marketing
I saw
guy,
Tony. And I saw Conan. I don't know how you.
I don't know. It was like Tony, Conan. So I thought she was talking about Conan O'Brien. Anyways, it was not. So it's so loud down there. You have no idea. There's no conversations.
No.
But we did get to watch the end of the race from there. So that was really, really fun. Enjoyed that. Dave always enjoys it too.
And Dave was good because there was good weather. So everybody was patting him on the back. Sunday was a great day.
It was.
It was much better. I mean, Saturday was freezing
cold.
cold.
No.
I played in that golf tournament.
You want to talk about that?
Fallen Officers Tournament. It's the first every year they had it out of Clear Creek. Widely popular. They had 20-some teams in the morning. Then they had even more than that playing in the afternoon. But we started at 8 a.m. and your husband wore shorts.
And I was like,
when I got there, my car said it was 37 degrees outside.
Oh
it was the coldest I've ever been playing golf. I mean, if you played at Clear Creek
life?
ever, yes. If you ever played golf at Clear Creek, there's a giant lake that wind coming off the lake makes it feel even colder if you're over on that part, holes near the lake. But yeah, I get out and see her husband in shorts. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I thought it was going to be like 44 degrees later in the day. And I don't think it got to 44 ever that day. But at one point, I want to say maybe after about 5 holes, it was like sleeting, snowing on the golf cart. I took a video on my phone. I could not believe it. It was actually, and then another time I did it later. So it actually snowed a little bit while we were playing golf. It was so cold. Thankfully, one of the guys we played with brought hand warmers, which was a lifesaver because we had those in our pocket and you take it out, hit your shot back in the hands. Without that, and if you hit it not well on the club, then your hand, like that stinging feeling, it was.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It probably does.
Yeah, one time it got me good. Like I did not hit it crisp, and I felt it in my right hand. It went numb, and so it was a great cause for worthy organization, but they did not win the weather lottery on Saturday. A couple of people we were talking to at the event, they said they played the Saturday prior, and it was like 80 degrees. And then this coming Saturday is supposed to be like 80 degrees. So we had 2 Saturdays booked into the 80s. And then the one in the middle, it didn't get out of the 30s.
It's crazy how that is because I got married in April too. April's just a weird month, especially here. I got married in April and I remember I was panicked about our wedding day because it was the 21st of April and it was beautiful weather. We could not have asked for better weather. It was like 70 degrees and it had a little breeze. It was perfect. But the weekend before, same place, the bride, all of her photos are in the snow. So I was like, what is going to happen? I was so stressed. I remember messaging Ricky Matthews, who was a meteorologist here for a time, and I was like message him every day, like, what's the weather going to be? But it ended up being okay. But that's just April for you.
It is
you know?
April in the Tri-Cities, and it can
I'm
be.
glad you survived.
Yeah, it can be. I went home, took a shower, and I still had a chill for a couple hours. I couldn't get warm back, and I finally did. But I was like, I mean, if we didn't had already prepaid for the tournament, and it was, I would have, if someone would have called and like, hey, let's play golf today, I'd been like, heck no.
Yeah, because don't you have a rule? What's the rule?
My rule is I don't like to play below 50 degrees.
Yeah, there you go.
But I broke it this time, and this was miserable. The coldest I ever been. But again, a good cause. We had fun.
You guys didn't win either.
No, we didn't win. We knew that we were going to win. Had a couple good shots, get you enough to come back for the next time. They had good food. They had Texas Roadhouse out there, catered the lunch after. They did barbecue. So we had a little lunch, and we were like, do we want to go inside and eat? And we're like, what's the point? We're already frozen. Let's just eat it and then get out of here. So
And it was fun, right? You have a memory, a lasting memory.
I will never forget. I got to play golf in the snow with snow flurries flying on April the 12th.
I kind of like that, baby. Like now you can say you're a real golfer because you played in the snow.
I mean, real stupid for playing, but yeah, never my choice. But yeah, so we had a good time. Hopefully next year they have that tournament. I'm sure they will because they had a huge turnout that I don't think the weather could be any worse than it was this year.
Oh, knock on wood for them.
Yeah.
All right. So you wanted to talk a little bit about Tennessee too.
Yeah. Interesting topic since we were here last week. If you haven't heard, we had kind of history in college football. Quarterback leaves his team, a starting quarterback walks away, leaves his team over, whether you want to believe it or not, it sounds like NIL money. Tennessee starting quarterback, Nico Iamaleava, who started last year, led them to the playoff. There had been some rumblings, I think it was on Thursday of last week, that he and his representatives, who I think his father also is a big part of his entourage, they were trying to renegotiate his NIL deal that he had with Tennessee. Now, before he came to Tennessee, he signed like a 4-year deal with them for like $8 to $10 million total over 4 years with UT.
Okay.
So he got paid money when his first year at Tennessee, he redshirted, never played a snap. He got money for that. He got money this past year, and he was supposed to make, I think, for this coming year, again, from the reports you read, around a little over $2 million, like 2.3, 2.4 million.
That's crazy.
What he was scheduled to make.
Can you imagine having 2 million when you were
as college?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Can you imagine? Oh my gosh!
So there was a report by I think it was Pete Nakos on Thursday that said Nico and his camp wanted more money. They were negotiating with Tennessee. Well, his father's like, that's BS. Like, that's not true. The next day, Nico skips practice, spring practice at Tennessee. He's a no-show, doesn't tell anybody. The Tennessee basically was like, we're done. The next day was the spring game. He wasn't there, and Coach Heupel said, yeah, we're moving on. Like, he's no longer on the team. And
can he do that, though, with the deal that he had in place?
Yeah, I mean,
they just cut the deal and say, they don't pay him anymore.
He signed the contract with, like, there's a collective, every school has a collective that brings in, and for Tennessee it's called Spire Sports, I believe. So, like, the contract that he had was with Spire Sports, but Tennessee is the Tennessee Vols collect money, whether from donations, and they give it to Spire, and it's kind of confusing, but it's not like I guess technically they could go after him for breach of contract, but that would not be a good look for Tennessee, because then for future recruits, be like, hey, Tennessee's going to come after you. Other schools will use it against recruiting. So anyway, so Nico, you haven't heard from him as of when we're taping this, but he was off the team. The transfer portal opened up Wednesday. That's when we're taping this podcast. So this has happened today, and he went in the portal officially. So he's looking for a new home, but again, just a couple of hours ago, the report came out that he's going to go to UCLA. He's from California originally. Again, that could change, but as we're taping this podcast, that's the reports are that he may go to UCLA. But it's just crazy how, this is a national story. This wasn't just a Tennessee media story. ESPN, Yahoo, everybody. This is on like newscasts. Like, this is a first. A starting quarterback leaves his team after spring practice, looking for not getting more money, and it's just a sign of the times now. I mean, we saw that with Georgia. I mean, you guys lost your starting
Yeah.
quarterback, Carson Beck.
Yep, same thing.
I mean, he got more money at the University of Miami.
So here's my thoughts on it, because when the whole NIL thing when that was even the whole topic on whether athletes should get paid or be able to take contracts and whatnot, I was for that, because I'm like, okay, well, other people are making money off of them. Why should they not be able to, set themselves up for the future or whatnot? But I don't think that like going out and buying a Corvette when you're 20 something, I don't know. I don't really like that part of it. I feel like maybe like there should be a way where like that money goes into a fund that they can't touch until they finish playing or something, or until they graduate. That way they're not like just blowing it on like dumb things. Because if you gave me $2 million when I was 18, 19 years old, who knows what I would have bought.
And you don't forget too, these players, hopefully, they will have, but a lot of them may not realize they have to pay taxes on that money. So if they get $2 million, about almost half of that is going back to Uncle Sam. And if you don't pay that at the time, you're going to be hurting later. So you got to have like the right people around you leading you, saying, hey, that's great, you're getting this money, but about 40% of that is going to the government.
And I'm sure they do, because nobody gets $2 million and doesn't have somebody that's like banking for you or like helping you.
Well, I mean, it probably does. Probably does happen.
But it reminds me of like music artists too, like
young music artists,
like Taylor Swift or Morgan Wallen. It's like they are young and they get into these deals with people. And then it's like you don't actually own, like Morgan Wallen and Taylor Swift, they didn't actually own their music. And then now they're like trying to get it back and like have it back. And so I don't know. It's just like when you're young and like that and naive, so to speak, it's like, I don't know, it's hard. I think it's kind of interesting how you're right, how that worked out. But, wish him the best. Hope UCLA is.
Again, he hasn't been 100% confirmed. That's the report. And in Tennessee, the transfer window in the spring's open for 10 days. So it opened on Wednesday. It'll be open, I guess, until like next Saturday. So Tennessee has the ability to try and find another quarterback. But even if they do find somebody else from another school, by the time he comes here, the first time he'll be on the football field at Tennessee will be in fall camp. Like spring practice is over.
And that's a problem too. That's also a big problem. Now you've left a whole team with nobody over really money.
And the reports are he may not going to get what he was going to make a little under $2.5 million in Tennessee. He apparently wanted $4 million. That's what the reports are. And he really doesn't have much leverage unless there were multiple schools interested, because at this point, like if he would have went in the portal after the season, there's a 10-day window like in December or January. He didn't do that. If he would have went in then, Tennessee could have found somebody else back in January. He could have got schools bidding more. But a lot of the people that have NILs, like they already had accounted for their roster. Hey, we have $10 million to spend on our football team. They already have done that by the spring practice is over. So I don't think his options, that's why UCLA, probably he's going to end up, if it comes out, he's probably going to end up making less than he would have made at Tennessee. But, it's a valuable lesson, I guess.
But, they should maybe make a rule on that. Like I think there should be some kind of rule to where you can't do that. I mean, it just seems kind of crazy. But
there's no guidelines with NIL. That's what a lot of people say. There need to be more regulations. The SEC has a rule in their own conference. You cannot transfer from one SEC school to another and play right away if you transfer in the spring period. So like if Nico's like, I want to go play at Georgia, he could go to Georgia, but he could not play this coming season. He'd have to redshirt.
Yeah.
But that's something all SEC commissioners and ADs agreed to as a way of not saying a kid on Georgia goes through spring practice, then it's like, oh, I'm going to go to Tennessee now last minute. So the SEC has a rule. So that kind of eliminated Nico could not go to any other SEC school and play. Tennessee could not get another quarterback from another SEC school to come in right away either. So that limits Tennessee and who they could go after as well. So they do have Jake Merklinger, who played a little bit last year, like in garbage time. And this other hotshot freshman, I think his name is George McIntyre he went to high school in the middle part of Tennessee. maybe one of Brentwood, I don't know, Brentwood Academy, maybe. So yeah, Tennessee's kind of maybe in a bind, but a lot of people are applauding Tennessee for taking a stand and saying, no, like this is what we agreed to. We're not giving you more money. So it is just interesting. That was a big story that hit last week, and it's still being talked about now, and it will be until he signs somewhere. We'll see what Tennessee does, and then what happens in the fall. You know, if Tennessee doesn't do as well as they thought they were, if they have an inexperienced quarterback, how does he do at another school? It's just interesting. In this NIL, he's going to be the face of NIL for a long time to come now because of what happened.
Well, I see more guidelines coming in the future.
Yes.
Just saying.
All right, let's do some snacks now.
Yay!
All right, so I'm responsible for the snack. And I was kind of wondering, like, what do I do for this? Because sometimes Kristen has some, you know, she comes up with some great treats. Sometimes, you know, she comes up with things that are just random or they have a meaning behind them. Mm-hmm. So I was driving yesterday and I heard them talk about like whatever day it is, you know, whatever food day it is. So I was looking later saying, well, I wonder see if the day we're taping this Wednesday, if it is anything. Today is National Banana Day.
Oh my gosh, you brought a banana.
It is National Banana Day. So we're going to have a nice little healthy treat on the podcast.
This is the worst snack ever.
A banana.
Margaret Downa's worst snack ever.
Okay. Here is some fun facts about bananas I'm going to tell you about as well.
I hate this so much.
Well, I cut a banana. We're going to cut it in half, and then we can each have a banana.
We've both had bananas.
Have you had but this banana?
This is supposed to be like a snack that like we've not tried, something new, something exciting, not a freaking banana.
Listen,
I hate this.
If I'm picking the snack,
0 out of 10.
Here's a fun idea to share some facts.
Banana is my favorite fruit, though.
There you go. I'm going to tell you something right now. A banana is technically not a fruit. This is according to daysoftheyear.com.
I hate this so much.
It is really a berry.
And this is not a good banana. I can already tell. Look at the brown. Look at how brown this is.
I like bananas like this.
No.
A banana is technically not a fruit.
And you brought this in your
lunch
box.
It's really a berry that has to do with the fact that seeds are located inside the flesh rather than on the outside. And because the banana contains potassium-40, they're technically radioactive. But the good news is you cannot get harmed eating bananas unless you ate around 700 bananas a day for your entire life. Then you could get radioactive and be bad from eating bananas. And if you want to know the growth of popularity of bananas, can be attributed to Jules Verne, the American author who wrote Around the World in 80 Days. She brought bananas to the forefront of many people's minds.
I hate you.
Now,
this is the most terrible snack. You're going to pay for this next week.
Because
you are going to pay dearly for this next week.
I'm not done yet. Because I thought Kristen might not like it being just a banana snack. Next
you
up,
brought something else.
Next up,
are you redeeming yourself? This is going to be bad.
Is a Keebler Elf cookie. We're going to do a rating here. This is the Keebler Elf.
Did you just like go into your pantry and say, "What do we have?" And like, this is all.
This was in the pantry.
This
the
looks
Keebler
like
Elf.
Dave Dirks on a cookie.
Does yours say anything? Mine says joy.
Yeah.
Okay. So next is the
Jump
Keebler
head
Elf.
First. Have you had? Is this what you have at home?
This is in our closet. My wife says that this is what our baby wanted, so she bought. These were never in our house. I've not known her until like the last couple of weeks, and she's blaming it on the kid who can't even defend himself.
This is such a funny thing to crave, like Keebler Elf cookies. We got to get her a better cookie. 0 out of 10.
So the banana 0 out of 10. The Keebler 0 out of 10.
The baby's gonna come out looking like this little elf.
One more snack. These are chocolate chip cookies that Kelly made.
This is literally like clean out your pantry.
No, she made these though. It's a scale. It's the Banana Day store-bought cookies, and then these are cookies that she made.
Did she make them for the podcast?
No.
Exactly.
No. She made them for the baby, and I took them. So have a cookie. I'll rate what's better between the banana.
This is obviously going to be the
Keebler.
best. And I can't rate it low because Kelly made it. And she'll watch this and burn my house down. That's actually pretty good, Kelly. It's like, I am particular about chocolate chip cookies because I don't like them too crunchy, but you can get them too soft. And this is pretty good.
What's the number?
Once you make it, though,
I think
tastes a little old.
Friday or Saturday?
Yeah, exactly. It's been like a week.
No, it hasn't. It's been 5 days, 4 or 5 days. This last cookie's for you, Ethan, by the way. I'm bringing it to you when the show's over.
It gets a 5 because it's 5 days old. And this would be better if it was fresh.
So, to recap, you give the banana 0, the Keebler Elf fudge cookie 0, and you give Kelly's cookie a 5 because it's 5 days old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you give it?
I give the banana a 7. I give the Keebler Elf cookie a 4 because they're not my favorite. The chocolate chip cookie, I give it 8.5.
You're going to pay next week.
Why?
This was terrible snack time.
What are you talking about? You had your fruit, a little sweetness.
No.
Well, this is what you get when you put me in charge of the snacks.
There's going to be some weird snacks next week.
But hey, remember, whatever you bring, you have to try too. You have to try too.
Oh yeah, but I'm just saying there might be some.
We might not be able to do. We might not be able to do next week.
That I really love might come.
We might not be able to do this next week. I might be too busy to do a podcast next week.
We'll see.
Like what? Give me something I can prepare for.
No. I'm gonna stew on it.
I don't drink coffee.
Well, I don't eat Keebler Elf cookies.
Yeah, you do. I mean, come on. Who doesn't like a Keebler Elf?
What if I'm allergic to bananas?
We've had this discussion before out in the newsroom about some of the younger people here bashing bananas, and you and I, we defend bananas.
I do like.
So I knew you like bananas.
Do like banana.
It was more of just because don't blame me. It was National Banana Day.
It was more just like, oh, I don't know what I have in my pantry.
If it was National Watermelon Day, I would have brought watermelon in.
I put love and joy into the picking of the snacks.
I'd say sometimes. I don't know about all the time.
Yeah, pretty much all the time.
No, I don't think so.
I bought you a Chick-fil-A.
That was a love one. Some of the ones you brought in were disgusting, and those were, I think, not of love. Out of let's make Casey uncomfortable.
Well,
so
guess we'll see what's up next week.
Maybe Joey Logano would have done better. This would have been avoided. If you didn't pick
Kyle Larson definitely would have picked a better snack because he's a winner. Oh, well.
Well, all right. So I guess my snack's not appreciated by some, but hopefully you learned a fact about Banana Day it's not really a fruit.
I did learn some facts.
I didn't know that.
And I do like bananas. So thank you for bringing the snack. I'm appreciative. I'm not mean.
But I'm going to get it next week.
But he is.
All right. We'll wrap it up this week. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Food City for sponsoring the podcast and for letting us come hang out in their suite for a little bit during the Food City 500. And we'll catch you next week.